What's up, YouTube? My name is Jason, and this is my take. And I'm back with another review this week, and today we're going to be talking about the new Young Thug album, Punk. Atlanta rapper, singer, songwriter Young Thug is back with another release. And this follows the YSL compilation tape, Slime Language 2, that dropped earlier this year. Now, in my opinion, Young Thug is just like a master of many things when it comes to his craft. When it comes to his performances, whether he's rapping or singing, he continuously shows why he's one of the more unique and influential artists in the game today. I mean, think about it. We don't have a Little Baby or a Gunna without Young Thug. Some of my personal favorite Young Thug projects include Slime Language 3, Jeffrey, as well as his last solo release, So Much Fun. So going into this new Young Thug project over here, I was, curious to see where he was gonna go. Young Thug dives into different bags, so I was curious to see what we will be getting from him, especially when you look at the album cover and you see the title. You never know. You don't know what you're gonna get, and I definitely didn't expect what I got on this project. Now on this new release here, we see Young Thug rapping over more laid back, stripped, acoustic guitar-led beats, as well as some usual trap records that we would get from Young Thug on this 20-track project. I feel like this project gave me beautiful Thugger Girls vibes, but I think on this project, Young Thug executed better overall, as he had some highlights and some great vocal performances on this. How Young Thug opens this album is interesting with Die Slow. I did enjoy the introspection here and how Young Thug was kind of talking about his family, how his dad went to jail and his mom had a stroke after a crazy incident, and also just the desire to, have his brother around, saying that he would do whatever he can to keep him out of jail, even if he has to become a Jehovah's Witness. I will say though, this line right here was weird. Never really heard people rap about and brag about not being gay, but weird, but we can move on. Now, a song that a lot of people have been talking about is the second song, Stress, that features J. Cole and T-Shyne. I actually enjoyed this track. The main reason this track has been talked about is because of J. Cole's verse. He popped up a couple times, 2 different verses. I think that overall I wasn't mad. J. Cole is my favorite rapper. So when I heard people talking about this was a track that I was looking forward to hearing. But I think that Cole's first verse on this thing was fine. I know people were talking about him taking his voice up a little bit and trying to match Thug's like energy in his voice, but I don't think he sounded that off. I don't really think he sounded bad on that refrain. I think that he sounded bad on the second part where he came in, like the little bridge. I didn't like his flow, and how he sounded just was a little off-putting. So I could understand from that side of things, but I think overall, like it was okay. I thought T-Shyne's verse was one that stuck out to me as well. I really enjoyed it. I love the "you need OJ money to get acquitted" line. I thought that was pretty dope. Recognize Real was another dope song on this project that features Gunna. And this was one of 3 times that we saw Gunna. And shockingly, Gunna sounded great on all 3 of these tracks. I'll say that I like Gunna's music in certain environments and vibes, but overall, he is a little boring to me. He can put me to sleep sometimes with his flow and everything, but he sounded very passionate on the features, and we'll get into some of the other ones later. But on Recognize Real, Gunna sounded really good on here. And the thing is, it was parts of Gunna's, verse that I didn't really understand, but I think that he still brought an energy to it that even though it was kind of hard to make things out, it still sounded good. Like I felt like he was really there. And I thought Young Thug absolutely glided over this beat as well. Contagious was also a highlight for me. I really like what Thug was talking about on here, on how he wished that keeping it real was contagious because he shows love to others and he doesn't get it back. I think that that's a really dope way of talking about it. wishing that he could just pass it on to others because they could use it. Just from a sound perspective, I thought Thug's singing on this was great. This was one of my favorite tracks, in all honesty. Another highlight on this album was the song Peepin Out the Window that features Future and BSlime. It's weird, like I feel like the chord progression and the piano on this sounds really typical, like something you would hear on an NBA Youngboy project, Rod Wave project. But regardless, I feel like Young Thug and Future just sounded great on this. I love when they get together, in all honesty. On this song, they're talking about paranoia and just having to watch your back. I love a line that Future had towards the end of the track where he came in and he said, peeping out the window because of cops that may be trying to kill him or trying to end him, especially in this time that we're in right now where we're seeing so many Black lives being taken from us. I never heard Future really get into that, but him bringing that up, especially in terms of the concept of this song of paranoia and having to watch where you are, I thought that was really dope on his part. Another huge standout on this was the song RNS that features Juice WRLD. This beat sounded like something that you would hear on like a Playboy Cardi like project, more specifically Die Lit, and I really enjoyed that because, I mean, unpopular opinion, maybe I actually really like Die Lit. There's just something about the energy that Young Thug brings to this track that really just made me want to return to it. I love he has a part in the hook where he says chicken bok bok, but he's saying the bok bok like a chicken, and like I'm not even mad at it. Like it didn't even annoy me, just because I think overall this is just a great song. And then we have a posthumous verse from Juice WRLD on the end of it, and he sounded great on it. I love when people utilize posthumous or unreleased verses the right way. Juice WRLD fit on this perfectly, and it was just good to hear him again. I enjoyed the song Livin It Up featuring Post Malone and A$AP Rocky as well. When I think about what I said earlier when it came to most of the songs on here being more guitar ballads and a little stripped back, like it sounds like something that Post Malone would get on, when we think about like a Beer Bongs and Bentleys project, for example. Post Malone just sounded great over this with Thug, and they both were trading, singing on this thing. I will say what is a little disappointing is how A$AP Rocky didn't really stick out on this track. I thought he sounded fine and his verse was cool, but he didn't bring it, in my opinion, like Post Malone and Thug brought it. Love You More was a track I also very much enjoyed on the tail end of this project that features Nate Ruess of Fun, as well as Gunna and Jeff Bhasker. Honestly, it was just great to see Young Thug team up with Nate Ruess. I thought this was a cool collab. I love how he came in. Gunna, again, just sounding really good and inspired on this thing. Thug and Gunna, they're just talking about, their girls, their loved ones. And I like how Young Thug kind of came in and was just talking about, you're the last thing I see when I turn the lights off. And him just diving into the love that he has for a significant other. All right, now listen. On a 20-track project, in my opinion, I'm expecting, low moments and filler as well. And this album is not perfect, so let's dive into it. First, when it comes to the song Stupid/Asking, it disappointed me because I actually think Stupid, the first half of this whole song, Stupid, was really dope. It was simple, really catchy, and how Young Thug was asking different questions and being like, are you stupid, with different things. I thought that was pretty cool and memorable. But the song Asking was just so odd, and there were refrains where Young Thug was just singing Asking in a very high-pitched voice, and he usually can hit notes and sound good, but this just did not sound good in my opinion. Scoliosis featuring Lil Double O might be my least favorite song on this project. First off, Young Thug's voice just sounds awfully mixed. Like some of the words that he was saying and how they were coming out, like his P sounding like words were, you could just hear that it wasn't mixed like fully, which was weird, especially on a high quality project like this overall. And then Lil Double O was not memorable in any way for me. His verse didn't stick out, and I just wasn't moved personally. While I don't think Bubbly is an awful song, I think it was one of the biggest disappointments, seeing that it featured Travis Scott and Drake. I think Drake was, the best sounding artist on this track, especially on that transition. Travis Scott, oddly enough, sounded really robotic on this song. Like, I don't know, it sounded like something that I would hear if Nav was on this beat. It was weird. And also, yet again, like on the song Scoliosis, there were just parts that Young Thug's verse, it just didn't sound up to quality like the other verses on this song did. I wonder what was going on mixing wise with these two songs. Well, I think from a production standpoint, the song Road Rage sounded good. What turned me off was just Young Thug singing. Like, it really felt off on this track, which isn't a usual thing on Young Thug's part. Then another thing was, given that this was a 20-track album, once we got to the tail end of this project, it did start to feel like a drag, in all honesty. And I don't enjoy saying that, especially about a Young Thug project. But the weakness of longer projects are those spots where it just feels slow, or songs just don't feel like they're competing with the other highlights. Like, it's just the curse of a long project. So when I think of songs like Yeah Yeah Yeah, Faces, Droppin Jewels, Fifth Day Dead, Hate the Game, they just didn't really hit me like some of the other highlights I mentioned earlier. And that's always weird when you have a project from an artist like this, that's gonna give you good moments. And then the song Icy Hot that features Doja Cat, it was also on the tail end, was a weird song because, like, what was going on here with Doja Cat and all this auto-tune on her voice? Like, that's the last person I would expect to have auto-tune, with the amazing voice that she has. It just felt like so much what was going on here, and it was off-putting. So look, overall, while I did feel like this album was a drag, Young Thug's performance over these more guitar acoustic-led tracks was solid. I did enjoy this album overall. And honestly, I think him still going in this direction and executing does show just the pure versatility that Young Thug has and the range that he has. Like I said, he just can dive into different bags. No, this isn't a perfect record. There are a lot of highlights on here, and I am curious to see what Young Thug does next. Is he gonna continue down this route of more albums that are like this or Beautiful Thugger Girls, or is he still just gonna continue to mix it up and be unpredictable? I am excited to see what he does next. So I'm gonna give this album a 6.5 out of 10. So what were you guys' thoughts on the new Young Thug album? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What were your favorite tracks? Let's have a discussion down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Got one more video dropping tomorrow. I'm Jason. This has been my take. See you next time.